Welcome back, everybody. We're going to address a little breaking story that happened just before we got on the show. There was a report of an active shooter at Villanova University in Pennsylvania. The university president now tells everybody it was a cruel hoax, the report of a active shooter. We'll keep you up to date on that over at justthenews.com, but want to give you the latest on it in case you had a loved one at the university or nearby. All right. We have talked a lot about the IRS in the story that we broke last night on the show and carried into the morning at the justthenews.com. The IRS literally had whistleblowers come to them. They develop a big criminal case against the Clinton Foundation, and then suddenly they say, we can't talk about it anymore. And then the excuse making began. We don't have enough resources. Unless you bring a live whistle, unless you bring an insider to us, we're not going to pursue it. It seemed like a head scratcher, but there have been a lot of head scratchers lately when it comes to accountability. I thought we turned to someone who knows a thing or two about accountability. In fact, he runs a group that encourages it. He's the president of the American Accountability Foundation, Tom Jones. Tom, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right. 3 FBI offices look at the Clinton Foundation for corruption. They get shut down. In fact, the actual line in the FBI notes about this is the Deputy Attorney General told us to, quote, shut it down. Then 3 years later, the IRS criminal agents start to develop a tax criminal case against the foundation, and the same thing happens. Shut it down, and then the excuses are, we don't have any resources at the IRS to look at whether a foundation was violating its tax obligations. Is that possible that the IRS didn't have resources?
Man, I wish it was, because we got audited after Sheldon Whitehouse from Rhode Island sent a letter to the chief of the IRS to say audit conservative groups. So I don't know. I can personally tell you they've got resources to audit nonprofits, because we were on the fuzzy end of that lollipop a couple years ago. So look, this is just nonsense. The Internal Revenue Service and the deep state that runs the place is just rotten to the core. It's staffed by left-wing ideologues, whether it's in the C-suite within the agency or within the bowels of the agency, the folks that do the work day in, day out. It is just a rotten agency staffed by rotten people. And until someone kind of grabs these folks by the lapel, shakes them, and runs them out the door, we're not going to get any change there. It's unfortunately an agency that thrives off of the process of punishing activists, people who are engaged in political speech, and using the tools that they have at the IRS of audits and lawsuits to kind of beat these folks into submission. And it's shameful. It's been going on for decades, and it doesn't seem to be changing.
I was about to say, I don't remember Lois Lerner shutting down any investigations into conservatives because they ran out of cash. I want to ask you, though, about an overarching problem that unfortunately comes about with 501c3s and C4s, charitable and philanthropic organizations. Oftentimes, especially when it is tied into politics, it is a pass-through, and you oftentimes find criminality or corruption. Should there be some type of movement to separate these two entities, politics from philanthropies, or, I don't know, some reason to not permit it to happen in the first place?
Look, I think what I just want is an Internal Revenue Service that doesn't get up in the morning and say, hey, how can I stick it to conservatives? And unfortunately, until some of the people from the Trump administration came in and started firing people, that's what you had. You had a group that said, look, we're going to let politics go, full bore if it's supporting progressives. But if you guys are anywhere near, supporting conservative research or conservative investigations, well, look, you're going to get an audit from, the Criminal Investigation Service and the Exempt Activities Division within the IRS. And we're going to drown you in a really intrusive investigation that's going to cost you tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, look, if you want to, make policy activism, impermissible for nonprofits, that's one thing. But what the IRS is doing is just saying, hey, anything conservative is unacceptable. Everything progressive is free to run. And that's just un-American. That's not what our government's supposed to be about. It's not supposed to be about picking sides in the marketplace of ideas. Unfortunately, that's what IRS is doing. That's what DOJ does. That's what the National Institutes of Health does. So it's deeply disappointing, but I think this administration is serious about fixing the problem, because they've done things that has never happened before, which is firing civil servants who are not supporting the president's agenda.
Yeah, 40% of OD&I will be gone by the end of the year. 300,000 workers are going to be eliminated by Donald Trump by December 1st, according to a notice that the Trump administration put out. That's the largest reduction of federal workforce in American history. Tom, what are the key things? Got about a minute left. What are the key next steps that Donald Trump's administration has to do to really make sure this legacy doesn't persist into the future? The dual system of justice, the abuse, the politicization.
Yeah, I mean, look, the number one thing he has to do, particularly when it comes to the IRS, is cleaning out the senior leaders there. Unfortunately, when we had the Lois Lerner fight about a decade ago, we thought we won that and we stopped paying attention to the people that worked with her. Well, what those people did is they put their head down, they kind of kept low for a little while, and they got promoted. And unfortunately, a lot of them are in senior leadership positions, whether it's in taxpayer services or exempt organizations at the Internal Revenue Service now. Now, the administration has really kicked some butt, and they've gotten rid of 5 people already in the last couple months, but they've got a lot more to do if they want an Internal Revenue Service that serves the American people fairly and not an Internal Revenue Service that uses its tools to target conservatives. So until they get rid of all the bad people, they're still going to have problems.
That's important. People are policy, and people are performance, and we're starting to get maybe the adjustment in those people for the first time. Tom, great to have you on the show. Congrats on all the great work your group does. We'll have you back on real soon, but good to have you on today.
Look forward to it. Thanks a lot.
All right. Same. Yes, absolutely. All right, folks, after the break, what would you do if you found out your home wasn't in your name? Someone stole it right under your thing on paper and then started taking out loans against it. You'd be pretty upset, right? We're going to cover that in a second, right after these messages.